Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and I'm also a personal trainer in case you did not know that. And one thing that I found in working in the industry for over a decade and working with men and women is that it really is true. It can be harder for women to lose weight, especially in certain times of our life, and that happens to be because of our lovely hormones that we have to deal with. So I often have women talk about this. I know my guest on Friday, Jenna Rodriguez, and I were joking about this a little bit about how you can't lose weight when you're over 40, right? Or that's a story that we might tell ourselves. And it really is a story because while it definitely is more challenging to lose weight as we get older, especially as women, especially as we do hit perimenopause and then menopause, it is possible. And today's guest, Lori Massicot, is going to help us see how that happened for her. And she also was able to get sober in that time. So really inspirational story for you here, and can't wait to share Lori's insights. Lori has since gone on to become a certified nutrition coach, the host of the 250 and Beyond podcast. So if you like podcast shows and want to go and listen to hers next, definitely go check that out. And she specializes in helping women over 40 lose the weight, both mentally and physically, to be happy and healthy and free from shame, guilt, and regret. Welcome to the podcast, Lori. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. I am really excited.
So what I love about your story, Lori, is that you lost weight during perimenopause, and that's impressive in and of itself, right?
I busted through the myths that you can't.
Yeah, women may or may not, be at that point who are listening right now, but if they have friends who are, they probably have been hearing that that's impossible. So that's impressive. Would you like to maybe start us off by sharing just that journey?
Yes, definitely. I actually started in perimenopause probably around the age of 40, but I didn't really know what was happening until maybe around 43. And I just felt disconnected from my body. And I felt like I was self-medicating. I was a heavy drinker at the time. So I would drink and numb myself with food and alcohol. And I started feeling almost to the point, I used to Google, am I dying or is it perimenopause? That's how bad it was. And I Googled that all the time. I wanted reassurance because I had every symptom that you can have in perimenopause, but I was making them worse by my diet and my drinking and so much stress and not sleeping. And that's pretty much my entire life. I really started drinking as a teenager. I was always yo-yo dieting, and I was very stressed. Chronic worrier is what I was. And it caused me to start having health issues. I had really high blood pressure. And around that time, I went to the urgent care because I was having chest pains, but on my right side, not by my heart. And I was kind of having a difficult time breathing at night, and I was really worried. And so that was around 43, and I was about probably 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. And they just told me, you've got to, they didn't tell me to change my diet, which is, another topic, how when you go to the doctor and they don't talk to you about nutrition, but It was like, go on this medication, go on Xanax for your anxiety. And I did that. And then I just thought one day, I can't keep doing this. I felt like I was just working against my body because I was really in a low point in my life because I felt like there was no way out and that nobody else was going to help me. And so I really just had to turn to myself. And I had lost my mom to uterine cancer at 42 when I was 42. And that was like the biggest change, the shift where it all started to happen. And I leaned on her for everything. So I thought, okay, I've got to be really strong for myself. And I have to start researching how to change my diet. And I started kind of exercising, but not very much. And my point of view on dieting back then was like lean cuisines and Diet Coke and like those Snackwell cookies, you know, all processed foods because I didn't know how to eat. And I lost some weight, you know, but then at 45, my drinking was at the worst it could have ever been. And I thought, one night I just made the decision, I have to quit. And it was the hardest decision of my life. And I really struggled with it for the first couple of years, especially. I'm almost 5 years sober. And that is when, thank you. That is when everything changed around. And I really just dove into, you know, when you give up something, you got to replace it. And I replaced it with going to the gym. My drinking, I replaced it with really educating myself on what to eat. I mean, honestly, it's just my whole diet was just messed up. My metabolism was so screwed up from years and years of yo-yo dieting and just eating junk food and not worrying about what I was putting into my body. So that's really when I made the shift at 45. I mean, that's pretty much the transition, the year that I transitioned. And then after that, I just started working on really eating whole foods and making it simple. Like my shopping now is so much different than what it used to be. It's crazy, and not overcomplicating it.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's really what it was for me.
So it's kind of like this one day where you decided to make the change.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I was, and this is my sober story really quickly. I was at home. My husband and my son were camping that weekend, and I was drinking my Chardonnay, probably watching a Lifetime movie. And somebody came down and said, throw it down the sink. You don't need it anymore. You've had enough Chardonnay for 5 lifetimes. And I did. And I poured out another bottle I hadn't even opened yet. I poured it all out, and I stood in my kitchen crying, saying, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have to do it. And it was just, it was a very strong pull, and I just had to really stick with my guns. And man, it's so hard. It's so hard, but it's worth it. I feel great now. And I know people who are out there, and women especially, who are drinking maybe at this time of life and comforting themselves with it. There is other ways to do that. It's just taking the time and making space.
Hi friends, it's Catherine, and if you are joining us and using today's episode to help you get in that out and back 15-minute walk, that was your halfway point reminder. We're 7.5 minutes into the episode. You want to turn around now. All right, back to Lori.
In your life without it for a while.
I love that. And I wonder, Lori, if you could help listeners who either might be about to be at that point or who have hit that point with some insights or strategies how to make it past that first decision, that first day, and move forward from there.
I don't know. I did I did journal, and I have a really supportive family. My husband, we've been together for 21 years, and we met in a bar. And so he was a drinker, and he told me, because I don't have to drink anymore, because we drank together a lot.
Yeah.
And at the time, my son Spencer was 12. And so, you know, I had that great support, and I really held it inside. I didn't even tell my closest friends because I felt so much shame and guilt. And I just started journaling, and I started, like I said, going to the gym. I'm not going to recommend this, but I ate a lot of cake and cookies. But I would tell myself, whatever it takes, as long as you're not drinking. And that's really, that's what I did. And, you know, it's so great now with, if you're on social media, just to put in the hashtag sobriety on Instagram, and you're going to find so many people that you can kind of join their groups and their tribes and their friendships and build from there if you need support. And I didn't have that for the first 2 years. So I always recommend that to women. And it's helped so many women, and there's Facebook groups around it, and you can do it virtually, or you can go to a meeting and get help, whatever works for you.
I think that's important. I've had a few friends recently talking about no matter what you're struggling with, finding people that are going through that same struggle can be, I mean, it seems counterintuitive. We have that phrase, right? Misery loves company. But I think that I mean, unless you're with the people that are going through or have gone through what you've gone through, it's really hard to, I think there's a lot of wisdom there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. Misery does love company, but it's like, just being on that same wavelength with somebody else and being able to support each other. It's huge. And I know that for some of the Facebook groups that I'm in, little sober communities, there's so much support there.
Mm-hmm.
Like 24/7, you can get support.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we often talk down about social media, but it can be a
I
really good
know.
thing.
I know. And I wasn't on social media. That's why I got on Instagram in 2015, because I was going to do my first Whole30, which that's where my nutrition really kicked up. And
Okay.
I
Yep.
got on there just to have accountability. And I thought, am I
Yeah.
going to let strangers look at my Instagram account? And I did. And it's like, it's been life-changing for me, that Instagram account. That's
Yeah.
where I came up with the name of really my brand, 250 and Beyond, because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be in the best shape of my life by the time I hit 50 and beyond that. And that's where it all started. Instagram.
Yep. See?
It's crazy.
Oh goodness. So you started out, you got sober, you were having some cake but also exercising. How
Yeah.
did you make that transition from I mean, not that cake, I mean, I think cake is still a good thing to have in moderation, right? But
Yeah.
how did you start, making that change and focusing on what you were eating a little bit more?
Really the Whole30, and the Whole30 is just, all about paying attention to your body. This is what I think it's about: paying
Mhm.
attention to your body and realizing what foods are making you feel really bad. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just
Mhm.
like, I knew that when I was eating sugar and all of the things that I would indulge in, even though I was losing weight, I wasn't doing it every day, but I just felt bad. And it mimics a hangover for me. And
Mhm.
a lot of sugar mimics being hungover from drinking Chardonnay. And so that was like, oh, I got to get rid of this. But even doing the Whole30, we cut out pretty much dairy.
Mhm.
We made so many changes. I used to have a gum addiction. Like, I would chew gum all the time,
I
sugary
can't buy
gum.
gum anymore. It's like
I
I chew
can't.
it like candy. It's like
I know. Isn't that funny? I haven't had gum since that first Whole30. It's like just that kind of stuff, because what it does, it teaches you how to read labels. And when you start reading these labels and you're like, what is that? I mean, that doesn't even make sense what this word is,
right, right.
Why would I put it in my body? So I think it's just all about educating yourself, and then just taking small steps to
Mhm.
make changes.
Mhm. I love that. And you talked about, I mean, I always try to tell people this, so it's good to have some backup on it, but you talked about having more whole foods and whole fruits and vegetables. Can you just maybe, I don't know if you have any recipe ideas or just ways that you made that easier for yourself and how that's helped you, even if you didn't think it would in the beginning?
I am a eater. Yeah, no, I am such a simple eater. I will tell you, the way we used to shop, we used to buy a lot of processed foods,
Mhm.
and like I loved crackers and stuff. I was a cracker aholic. I just eat crackers all the time. And so really, after we did that Whole30, our shopping just changed. I mean, honestly, I coach women and I help them with their groceries as well,
Mhm.
because there's so much money being wasted on this stuff when you
Mm.
start just shopping the perimeter of the store,
Mhm.
and you become, I call it a super sleuth with your labels, and you
Mhm.
start looking at these ingredients, and picture yourself at a spelling bee and somebody gives you one of the words off of your ingredient label. It's like, I don't know how to spell that. It's like, put it back on the shelf. I mean, that's just like been one of my biggest things. But really, consistently, I eat the same stuff
Mhm.
throughout the day. And
Mhm.
then over the weekends, we'll maybe, we'll make a pizza instead of getting a greasy, yucky pizza out at,
Yeah, yeah.
a takeout restaurant. We'll just make healthier swaps. And that's pretty much how we've done it, and slashed our grocery bill in half,
Mhm.
and just really have lost weight and kept it off. I was always losing weight. Everybody can lose weight, but to keep it off is to make these small steps, and they're just pay off tenfold in the long run.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what's happened. Yeah.
I love that. And do you think, I mean, when you've been coaching women, because I find that it can be hard to make that transition, but I find that when I do eat more foods and like more whole fruits and vegetables, I feel better, and it starts to be a cycle, and I actually crave that more. And I have my days when it doesn't go well, but but
Yeah.
but any insights or just things you've seen from coaching just to kind of inspire us to
Definitely,
keep going.
definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't believe in deprivation. I don't believe if you want to have something, you shouldn't not have it. But, that's where moderation comes into play.
Mhm.
That is where you kind of look at your overall day and say, okay, well, if I'm going to have maybe some pancakes in the morning, then I'm going to make up for it later in the day and I'm going to have a light dinner, or just all kinds of swaps that you can do with your eating, and then also just the healthier swaps that you can have that are going to satisfy you. And yeah, you do start craving that stuff and your old cravings start to go away.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a cycle of eating processed foods and sugary foods, you're going to be in that cycle until you break it, and then you can slowly add it back in, but it might take you some time to be able to say I'm strong enough just to have half a piece of cake instead
Right.
of
Right.
a half of a cake. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, that's how I was. So the only thing that I've gone all or nothing with is alcohol, because I
Sure.
cannot moderate that. So
Sure.
yeah, I don't believe in the all or nothing except when I talk about my drinking. So I think that's just some easy, simple tips, and to just stop that overwhelm, stop overbuying food that you're not really eating and that you don't need in your house, because if it's in the house, we're going to eat it. So just
Right.
don't buy it.
Right. No, that's true for me. If I have something that, I can't always have just, one or two M&Ms. I'd have the whole bag. So,
Yes. Yeah, because it's addictive. It's not like, you're a food addict. It's the food is addictive. So, you're eating it. It's like, oh my gosh, you can't stop.
right. Yeah, and that is true. Like we're kind of up against, I mean, these companies, this became it was pointed out to me when I went to a conference 2 years ago. I'm actually going to attend the same conference the end of this month, but they were just talking about. I mean, they have food scientists that make the food, like that's what the whole purpose of is, to make sure that it is addictive. So you're kind of up against a lot, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they want you to do. They want you to keep buying it, and they're going to make it addictive. And yeah, they're making this food in labs, and I'm using food quotation marks because
sure.
it's like, yes, my son eats chips and I'm like reading the ingredients label to him. I'm like, this is not good. This is not food. But I don't judge anybody for eating. I mean, I love my treats and stuff, but I've also worked really hard at being able to say, that's not going to make me feel good tomorrow, so I'm just not going to eat it. But
Hmm.
no, I'm nowhere near being a perfect eater or anything, but I think just we just have to do a little bit better every day, and that's all we can ask from ourselves.
And I love that. And I love what you said about, just kind of thinking about how you'll feel, tomorrow, or just how you'll feel, after eating something. Is that what you really want to feel in that, in that moment? Or because sometimes we can make that choice that we are going to enjoy this while we're enjoying this, little splurge, but
Yeah, and don't feel regret and guilt. I'm really big on that because I think that women, and I am 50 and I am in menopause. I will say that. So I think women in perimenopause, they just really need to hone in on their food because it can help them so much. But if you're going to have whatever you want to have, don't feel guilt or regret about that. In midlife, you got to just let that stuff go. It weighs on you, and it's like that. Oh, well, I did bad this morning, so I'm going to keep going all day and I'm just going to eat a bunch of junk. And don't be like that. It's just, go out and enjoy your life and have fun, and don't say you're on a diet anymore. It's like so restrictive. Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate you. And I do. I love this podcast. I love that you're encouraging people to get out and move their body. So if you're listening to this and you're walking, it's like, go, 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 go. Yeah. So I have a podcast. It's called 250 and Beyond, and it is all about celebrating women in the middle of life. And we talk about health and wellness. We talk about drinking, and we talk about entrepreneurship. It's just getting started, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that. So you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram at 250 and Beyond. That's really an easy place to connect with me. my website is just lorimassicot.com. And I'm going to have a group coaching program starting July 3rd, and all the details will be up on my website. We're going to talk about creating new, healthier habits and really making a shift from some of the unhealthy things that we're doing and making a simple transition into eating more whole foods and just feeling better. I just say that, like, feel better than yesterday. That's my motto. And then I also offer some one-on-one coaching, and that's all on my website. Oh, definitely. And I have a coach. She's actually helping me with my sugar. And I just got off of a 1 hour Zoom call with her this morning. And it makes such a difference. After I'm done, she's asking me questions that I don't normally ask myself. It's like, wow. Having a coach and having that extra support, and especially being part of a community, it's life changing. So yes, I totally believe in it. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yep, yep. No, for sure. Well, I really enjoyed chatting with you, Lori, and I know you have some exciting things going on to kind of share your insights and your journey and help other women. So I don't know if you want to share about what you have coming up that's exciting, and then just where people can connect with you to learn more. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Mm, mhm, mm. No, that's awesome. And I'll just, as someone who does one-on-one and group coaching, I would say you can't like underestimate the power of being in a good group coaching program because like I have one-on-one clients that will do my group coaching program and that's where they see the biggest results because and kind of the science of behavior change shows just the importance of that. So definitely encourage people to check that out. Mm. Mhm. Right? Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely excited for the ladies who are fortunate enough to get to work with you this summer. So, yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.